In the Bible, there is an account that after Abraham's wife died, he married a woman named Keturah. Unlike his first marriage, Abraham and Keturah had various children together, which makes Keturah quite an intriguing figure for Bible readers. It's because it's hard to understand why Abraham chose to have more children with her. But beyond that, there are accounts that Keturah was actually Abraham's former concubine who came to her after Abraham's wife died. So, what's the truth? And who are the descendant tribes and people of Keturah that we can trace? Welcome to a new episode of Uncovering Untold Stories, a channel where we talk about the secret and hidden historical stories of the past that find their roots in religious and history books. It's a place where you will hear the most unorthodox and hard-to-believe stories that have been forgotten but are part of history, shaping our lives to this day. In this episode, we will tell you why Abraham married Keturah and who are her descendants. Let's get started. The book of Genesis recounts the tale of Abraham, a figure in Judeo-Christian tradition, who enters into matrimony with another woman named Keturah following the demise of his cherished wife Sarah. Genesis 25, 1-2 records this event, stating, Abraham had taken another wife whose name was Keturah. This narrative raises questions about Abraham's motives for remarriage and whether Keturah held the status of wife or concubine. You should know that Keturah is mentioned in the Bible as the wife of Abraham. Scholars engage in debates over Keturah's precise identity and background. Some suggest she may have been a concubine or servant in Abraham's household, while others view her as a legitimate wife. The biblical text offers few details about her origins or her relationship with Abraham, allowing for diverse interpretations. One viewpoint suggests that Keturah may have come from a different lineage or background than Abraham and Sarah. This interpretation proposes that Abraham married Keturah after Sarah's death to continue his lineage and fulfill God's promise to make him the father of many nations, as outlined in Genesis 17:4-6. Another perspective suggests Keturah may have been a member of Abraham's household, such as a servant or concubine, who became his wife after Sarah's passing. In the ancient Near Eastern culture, it wasn't uncommon for men to take concubines or secondary wives, especially if their primary wives couldn't bear children. Regardless of her status, Keturah's marriage to Abraham resulted in the birth of 6 sons: Zimran, Jokshan, Medan, Midian, Ishbak, and Shua, according to Genesis 25:2-4. These sons became ancestors of various tribes or peoples, some mentioned later in the Bible. The reasons behind Abraham's marriage to Keturah aren't explicitly stated in the biblical text, leaving room for speculation. Some propose personal or emotional reasons, such as companionship or the need for support in his later years. After Sarah's passing, Abraham may have sought solace in the companionship of another woman, leading to his union with Keturah. Additionally, some interpretations suggest that Abraham's marriage to Keturah had symbolic or theological significance, representing the fulfillment of God's promise to bless Abraham and make him the father of many nations. By marrying Keturah and having children with her, Abraham may have been fulfilling his role as a patriarch and progenitor of God's chosen people. However, besides being labeled as the wife of Abraham, Keturah is explicitly labeled as Abraham's concubine in the Book of Chronicles. The classification of Keturah as a concubine sparks debates among scholars regarding her identity, with speculation arising as to whether she was Hagar or another woman. Despite the scarce information regarding Keturah's origins in the Bible, her progeny are recognized for their involvement in international commerce dealing in commodities like spices and gold. Unlike Abraham's other wives, Sarah and Hagar, the Bible offers minimal insight into Keturah, leaving her persona veiled in mystery. The ambiguity surrounding Keturah's identity stimulates discussions about her significance in Abraham's life and lineage. Genesis 25:6 mentions Abraham bestowing gifts upon the sons of his concubines while he was alive, suggesting the presence of more than one concubine, including Hagar and Keturah. The plural usage of concubines implies Abraham's involvement with multiple concubines, further complicating the narrative. Scholars provide diverse interpretations regarding Abraham's decision to wed Keturah after Sarah's passing and the rationale behind fathering numerous children with her. An analysis of Genesis 25:5-6 where Abraham dispenses blessings and gifts to his sons, sheds light on one interpretation. The passage indicates that Abraham transferred all his property to Isaac only after Keturah's sons were born. This delay in granting Isaac his inheritance hints at a strategic move by Abraham, possibly motivated by the desire to secure Isaac's sole inheritance after establishing the lineage through Keturah's offspring. However, questions arise about why Isaac was given all the property, for which various interpretations exist. Isaac holds a unique position in Abraham's lineage as the child of promise. According to biblical narratives, God makes a promise with Abraham, promising to fulfill his covenant through Isaac, as said in Genesis 17:19-21. This covenant is of great significance, ensuring blessings and inheritance for Isaac and his descendants. As the chosen heir of this covenant, Isaac is entitled to inherit everything Abraham owns, including land, property, and blessings. What's more, inheritance practices in ancient Near Eastern societies often followed the principle of primogeniture, where the eldest son received the largest share of the estate. As Abraham's firstborn son from his lawful wife Sarah, Isaac would naturally be expected to inherit the majority, if not all, of his father's wealth. This cultural custom likely influenced Abraham's decision to primarily allocate his assets to Isaac, in line with societal expectations. As for Abraham's sons from Keturah, although they receive gifts from their father, it's important to note that they are not designated as the primary heirs of the covenant promises. While they are legitimate descendants of Abraham, they do not hold the same theological status or inheritance rights as Isaac. Therefore, Abraham's decision to entrust Isaac with his entire estate aligns with his obedience to divine commands and his recognition of Isaac's special role in God's plan for his family and descendants. Before we continue further, tell us, are you enjoying the video? If yes, please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos about Little Heard and Untold real historical stories. Let's continue now. Moreover, Abraham's concern for Isaac's future following Sarah's demise compels him to seek a suitable spouse for his son. Genesis 24:67 recounts Isaac's marriage to Rebekah, who is welcomed into the tent once occupied by Sarah. Isaac's union with Rebekah symbolizes continuity and solace after Sarah's passing, emphasizing the significance of family bonds and lineage succession in Abraham's legacy. In the biblical account, numerous years pass, and Rebekah remains unable to conceive, causing Abraham great concern about the potential end of his family line due to infertility. Fearing the absence of descendants from Isaac and Rebekah, Abraham takes action. Recognizing the gravity of the situation, he decides to marry Keturah as a precautionary measure, aiming to ensure the continuation of his lineage by having children with her. If Rebekah eventually bears children with Isaac, the family line will naturally pass through Isaac. However, if Rebekah continues to struggle with infertility, then Abraham's offspring from Keturah will become the heirs to his legacy. At the age of 140, immediately following Isaac's marriage to Rebekah, Abraham takes Keturah as his wife. Throughout the 2 decades of Rebekah's infertility, all of Abraham's children with Keturah are born. Amidst uncertainty about the future of his family line, Abraham holds on to all his possessions. Eventually, Rebekah conceives, giving birth to Esau and Jacob. It is only after this event that Abraham determines Isaac as the rightful heir to carry on the family lineage. Consequently, he bestows his possessions upon Isaac and sends Keturah's children to him. Another interpretation of Abraham marrying another wife can be found in the verse where the angel speaks to Hagar, foreseeing Ishmael's temperament. The angel predicts Ishmael's wild and combative nature, suggesting that he will live in conflict with others. Recognizing the need for sons with traits resembling Ishmael's, Abraham realizes the necessity of having additional heirs. Except for Isaac, all of Abraham's sons share a common characteristic. They do not establish nations, but instead live in tribal societies, wandering in the wilderness. The angel's declaration to Ishmael suggests that he will live among a large extended family rather than in solitary isolation. Afterward, Abraham received updates about Ishmael's life and sought guidance from God regarding Ishmael's future and blessings. In Genesis 17:20, God assures Abraham, stating, "As for Ishmael, I have heard you. I will surely bless him. I will make him fruitful and will greatly increase his numbers. He will be the father of 12 rulers, and I will make him into a great nation." This divine assurance suggests that Ishmael's descendants would thrive in tribal communities rather than centralized kingdoms governed by monarchs. The predictions regarding Ishmael's destiny came to fruition as he matured in the desert, honing his archery skills while dwelling in the desert of Paran. Additionally, his mother facilitated a marriage for him with an Egyptian woman, as detailed in Genesis 21:20-21. Consequently, Abraham dispatched Keturah's sons to the eastern deserts during his lifetime, segregating them from Isaac, as delineated in Genesis 25:6. These offspring later formed alliances with Ishmael, playing a significant role in the emergence of the Israelite nation. As time progressed, the descendants of Ishmael and Midian amalgamated, forming a unified nation. Due to their shared customs and ancestry, Midian's progeny became known as the Ishmaelites, as evidenced in the Bible. Interestingly, apart from Israel, Keturah's sons were the sole individuals mandated to undergo circumcision, symbolizing their unique connection to Israel's sanctity. The narrative involving the sale of Joseph further underscores the involvement of Keturah's descendants in pivotal biblical events. Genesis 37:28 recounts how Joseph was sold to the Ishmaelites by his brothers, highlighting Keturah's lineage's role in crucial junctures of biblical history. Moreover, their names surface in Gideon's account of the spoils obtained from the Midianites, emphasizing their presence in subsequent biblical occurrences. Embracing a nomadic lifestyle in the desert became the predominant way of life for the majority of Abraham's descendants, with Isaac being the exception. This wandering existence mirrors Abraham's own experiences, deeply ingrained in his lifestyle and instrumental in shaping the destinies of his progeny. Abraham, revered as the progenitor of numerous nations beyond his own lineage, had a profound affinity for all living beings, leading him to adopt a nomadic way of life rather than settling in one location. His extensive travels took him from Ur-Kasdim to Haran, then to the land of Israel, back to Haran, and onward to Alon Morah, Beth El, Egypt, Beersheba, and beyond. These journeys were not haphazard but driven by Abraham's belief in a divine calling, compelling him to traverse borders. This nomadic lifestyle was not confined to Abraham alone, but became a prevalent pattern among his descendants, including the sons of Keturah. They consciously embraced this way of life, rejecting the notion of anchoring themselves to the establishment of a specific nation. To them, nomadism represented liberation from the materialistic trappings inherent in settled societies. The sons of Keturah and Ishmael were not compelled into this lifestyle, but rather chose it deliberately, motivated by their aversion to the materialism they observed in urban dwellers. Living autonomously in the wilderness enabled them to maintain their independence and uphold their ancestral values. The prophetic prediction that Ishmael would be at odds with everyone and everyone with him symbolized a life characterized by expansion and confrontation. This ethos ensured the perpetuation of Abraham's universal legacy among his descendants, evident in conflicts like the one between the Midianites and Israel during Gideon's era. When Abraham sent Keturah's sons away from Isaac, he did not specify a particular territory, but instead directed them to the land of the east, implying a life of wandering rather than settlement. This deliberate ambiguity reflected Abraham's recognition that his progeny would traverse vast, uninhabited expanses adhering to the nomadic tradition. The confrontation between the Midianites and Israel, as depicted in Psalms 83:9-10, underscored the former's ideological opposition to settled living and their desire to emulate Abraham's nomadic lifestyle in the land of Israel. Their incursion was not driven by a desire for territorial conquest, but by a commitment to preserving their ancestral ethos of freedom and independence through nomadic living. This conflict between Israel and Midian offers a profound glimpse into the differing values and priorities of these ancient societies. At its core, the war illustrates contrasting perspectives on material wealth and spiritual heritage. The Midianites, depicted as possessing substantial property, embody a culture centered around material accumulation, while the Israelites, with their modest material wealth, prioritize spiritual and moral principles over worldly possessions. The war between Israel and Midian offers a lens through which to explore these underlying values and priorities. As the Israelites engage in battle with the Midianites, they confront not only a physical foe, but also a representation of materialistic values. Through their triumph over Midian, the Israelites reaffirm their commitment to spiritual principles and demonstrate the superiority of spiritual heritage over material wealth. Another account related to Keturah's children is their absence at Abraham's burial. Although Abraham's burial was attended by his sons Isaac and Ishmael, there is no mention of Keturah's sons being present. This absence could be attributed to factors such as geographical distance and limited means of communication during that era. It is plausible that Keturah's sons were unaware of Abraham's passing due to their remote location or lack of communication channels. The vast geographical distances between regions made it challenging to relay news swiftly, particularly to isolated communities. Consequently, Keturah's sons may have missed the opportunity to attend Abraham's burial due to delayed information. Furthermore, the absence of Keturah's sons may reflect underlying family dynamics. Despite being descendants of Abraham, they may have had limited contact or emotional ties to their father and his immediate family. This lack of familial connection could have contributed to their absence at Abraham's burial, as they may not have felt a strong obligation or emotional attachment to participate in the funeral rites. Now let's come to Keturah and who she was as explained in extra-biblical and historical sources. Rabbinic literature, for example, offers midrashim, which are commentaries and interpretations shedding light on her character and importance within Jewish tradition. One midrash suggests that Keturah might actually be Hagar, Abraham's previous concubine, who returned to him after Sarah's passing. According to this viewpoint, Keturah and Hagar are essentially one and the same, with Keturah potentially serving as a symbolic or honorary name bestowed upon her later in life. This perspective aligns with the idea that Keturah represents the continuation of Abraham's lineage through Hagar, further illustrating the interconnectedness of characters in the biblical narrative. Another midrashic tradition portrays Keturah as a woman of exceptional beauty and wisdom, chosen by Abraham to carry on his legacy following Sarah's death. According to this interpretation, Keturah's virtues and contributions extend beyond the role of a mere wife or concubine, highlighting her significance in Abraham's life and the broader context of the patriarchal story. Beyond the Jewish tradition, Keturah's story has also been explored in Islamic sources. In Islam, Keturah is known as Keturah or Katra, and is mentioned in Islamic literature as one of Abraham's wives. Although the details of her narrative in Islamic tradition may differ from those in the Bible, she is generally regarded as a righteous and honorable figure who played a significant role in the lineage of prophets. What do you think why Abraham's children from Keturah did not get as much mention as his other children in the Bible? What do you know about Abraham's wife Keturah? In the comment section right below, share your thoughts on Abraham's marriage with Keturah and her descendants. Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If yes, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon next to it. We bring videos on stories that might sound controversial, mysterious, and shocking, but are real and have roots in religious books like the Bible and history books. Thanks for watching, and until the next video, stay tuned.